Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce your next keynote speaker. Please come in and sit down. I've known this man for a number of years. I've seen him speak. I've lost count how many times. And every single time I see him speak or hear him speak, I learn something new. He's probably, and I don't say this lightly, one of the smartest, well-read, and well-educated entrepreneurs that I know. And I don't say that lightly. He's built an international group of businesses, 4 times best-selling author. And what I'm hearing more than anything else, as I've spoken to you all over the last day and a half, is that something that's lacking that a lot of you really want and need is lead generation. Raise your hand if you want to generate more leads, more opportunities, more inquiries in your business. So what Daniel's done is he's created, I might say, a revolutionary way of generating leads, high quality, highly qualified leads, so that turning them into clients and customers becomes a lot easier. We've actually started using his technology in our business, and it's been game-changing. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give a warm Expert Empires welcome to my good friend, Mr. Daniel Priestley.
Thank you. Yes,
Daniel Priestley, ladies and gentlemen.
hey, welcome. Thank you very much for having me at the conference. Good to see you. How is everyone? Fantastic to see you. So looking at the website for Expert Empires, it said that a big part, in fact, reason number 1 to come along to this conference was to get clients, to get more customers. Who likes the idea of getting more customers, right? So we're going to talk a lot about getting more customers. Today is a little bit of a special day for me as well. It's a bit of a book launch day. You've got my new book in front of you. We'll do a selfie, we'll do a photo in a minute, so make sure you've got the new book with you. It's a brand newie that's just come out this week. So let me give you a little bit of background though before we cover the content. So my background is that I've been an entrepreneur now for 20 years this month. So 20 years ago when I was 21 years old, I launched my very first company in Australia. And before I did that, I worked for this guy here called John. And I was 19 years old. I rocked up to John's house and said that I wanted to drop out of university and could I join his startup. And he said, sure, I don't know what job you're going to do. We don't have a business name and we don't have a bank account yet, but we're going to start a business. And I was one of the very first people sitting around that table. There were 3 of us. And we launched this new business. And I was John's kind of assistant, his, I guess you could call Swiss Army knife. I could do 25 things badly. And John got me to do all sorts of things. And I learned so much. It was like this apprenticeship that you couldn't dream of as a 19-year-old, where I learned a lot about advertising and marketing and sales and logistics and hiring and firing and all of that sort of stuff. Over the following 2 years, we built the business from an idea to about 6 million of revenue per year in year 2. So it was a very fast growth business. We went from sitting around the kitchen table to having an inner city office in Melbourne with about 60 employees. So you can imagine what an incredible experience that was to go through that fast growth. When I got to age 21, I went to John and I said, hey, John, I was there right at the beginning and I've helped you from every single step of the way, and now we're a multi-million-dollar company. Would I be able to get some shares in the company? What do you think he said? He said, Dan, if you want shares in a company, you've got to go start your own company. So it was like, ooh, okay, fair enough. But it was cruel to be kind because he'd given me the apprenticeship, and I went off and I started my own company. And that business went and became a $10 million company within 3 years. So it was a very fast growth company. By the time I was, oh, hey! So by the time I was 25, we had about $1 million a month going through the business, which was pretty amazing. But I'll tell you, the first lesson I got from John was this one. He said, everything is downstream from lead generation. If you can't generate leads, then it doesn't matter how good the product is, it doesn't matter how good your salespeople are, none of that matters because everything's downstream from lead generation. You've got to fix that problem. You've got to have lots and lots of leads. Look at the people who are typically up on the stage at a conference. They've got a very sophisticated, successful lead generation approach. They generate lots and lots of leads. They have an abundance of leads. Most of the time they have so many leads they can't keep up with them. They have waiting lists because they have so many leads. So the lead generation problem is that first problem. When I first started, this is me at age 21, this is me running my very first ad in the newspaper, right? So this is my very first lead generation approach. I stick an ad in the newspaper. It had a 1-800 number, free call to call up. It looks like I'm happy in that photo. In actual fact, I'm terrified because I've put $8,000 on my credit card and I have no way of paying that $8,000 off if that ad doesn't perform. If that ad didn't work, I had no ability to pay off the cost of running the ad. Luckily, the phones rang, 100 leads came in. We responded, we spoke to people, and we made about $35,000 worth of sales, which was really cool. And we rerun that ad in the newspaper 40 times that year, so 43 times. So basically, we just ran it again and again and again. And basically, I would run the ad, make sales, pay off the credit card, run the ad, make sales, pay off the credit card, and we just 43 times that year. So that was age 21. Eventually the business grew. We grew a global business. We ran big events all over the world. Now, next big lead generation approach was joint ventures and partnerships to put on big conferences all over the world. I arrived in London in 2006. In 2007, we ran a 2,000-person event at the London Palladium Theatre in the West End. And that was a great lead generation approach. And along the way, we did lead generation through email marketing, and that was an incredible approach that we did. Then the next thing I got into was writing books. I thought, wouldn't it be cool to write some books? Lots of people would come in if they read the books. So I wrote 4 books about entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial journey. And they're all really good lead generation approaches, except for one thing. All of those lead generation approaches are what's called broadcast only. I get to put our message out into the marketplace, but I don't know much about the people reading the books. I don't know much about the people attending the events. Much like today, I don't know if this gentleman is the CEO of a NASDAQ-listed company or a fish and chip shop down the road. I have no idea, right? So it's broadcast only. It's a one-way communication. And then that changed. So when I did the revised edition of Key Person of Influence, I was about to put it out into the marketplace, and I kind of had this weird thought. I thought, maybe we should have a way of people telling us about themselves and that we could learn more about them. So in the book is the 5 Ps of becoming a key person of influence. And I said, you know what, we'll do an assessment where people answer 40 questions and we tell them whether they're any good at those 5 Ps. We'll actually, based on how they answer, we'll give them a score against the 5 Ps. So in the book, we put in this new page, and it said, go to the website and take the online scorecard to see whether you've got the ability to influence. And when people would type in the URL, up comes this website that we built, and it says, discover your influence score, increase your ability to influence. They put in their name, their email, and location, and then they answer a series of questions. So 40 questions pop up one at a time, typically yes or no questions, and really simple questions to ask. So have you written a blog or an article in the last month? And if somebody Googled your name, would they find mostly page 1 is good links featuring you? So lots of little questions, and then it comes up with a nice kind of display as to how you did and where you're strong and where you're weak, and you get this nice little report. Based on how you score, you'll see a different video, and the video will invite you to come along to an event or to talk to our team. You then use Calendly to book in and talk to the team. And when my sales team pick up the phone to talk to you, they get all of the data. So they can actually see how you responded to all of the questions, and they basically can have a really great conversation because they can cherry pick which topics they want to talk to you about based on how you answered. So the sales call is really cool. Rather than having to start the call with the worst possible sentence ever, tell me a little bit about yourself, right? That's like, especially, I mean, who's been on the receiving end of that, right? Oh, tell me a little bit about yourself. I'll tell you about myself. I'm busy. That's what I'll tell you about myself, right? So instead of tell me a bit about yourself, what about this as a sales call? Hi, Chris. You took our key person of influence scorecard yesterday. Your high score was for partnerships. You scored 87%. Your lowest was for pitching, 26%. I was wondering, would you like to improve that low score? Would you like to improve your pitching skills? Because, that's what your scorecard told us was the area that needs the most improvement. That is a really powerful conversation because nobody says, no, you know what, my pitching sucks and I want to leave it that way. So what you end up with is something that is both automated and also very personalized. Now, normally those two things don't happen. Normally, personalization is when it's human and you don't have much automation involved, or automation is one size fits all and it just churns it all out. So a bit of the holy grail is if you can do personalization and automation in the one. Quick question before we get into how to do this is, how many leads per week for your business would be life-changing? And when I say life-changing, I mean literally you'd be living a very different life. Like as in, I want you to stop and think about it. If you had, let's say, 100 leads a week, and every single week they just kept coming in, people saying, I'd love to work with you, I'd love to work with your business, can I get more information, please? Can you send me through a brochure? Right? If you had 100 a week, would that be life-changing? Different house, different car, different holidays. Would it be? Who here, the number is between 10 and 100 per week, right? Wow, most of you, right? 10 to 100 leads per week, and that's it, life change. Who here, it's higher? It's more like 500 leads a week or something like that. Wow, no one's even high. Okay, great. We can change all of your lives with 10 to 100 leads per week. That's pretty cool, right? So let me tell you, for us, when we launched this, 90,000 leads came in. All of them were data-rich leads. We generated £15 million worth of sales. The strategy hardly changed since we launched it in 2015. It always continued to grow year on year on year. It's simple and hardly anyone's doing it, right? It's so rare that you see these assessments out there. Everyone's got a podcast, everyone's got videos. Those are great things, by the way. A lot of people have got a book, but not very many people have got an assessment. It takes about 1 to 2 hours to set this up, right? So it takes less time than recording and editing a video or less time than doing a podcast episode, and it's insanely cheap to run. Once it's up and running, it just runs and runs and runs, and the leads come in, and it's really cheap. So when people saw this happening, a lot of my clients said, hey, can I get a scorecard too? So in 2019, we built about half a dozen scorecards from scratch using WordPress. And we charged about £8,000 to £10,000 to do all the writing of it and the design and literally having to build it and code it from scratch. And then in 2020, we said, you know what, we're going to build this into a platform, make it super cheap, and we launched ScoreApp. And ScoreApp has been just so cool. Over 2,500 people are now using ScoreApp since we launched it. Is anyone using ScoreApp in the room? Yay, very cool, right? Well done. Someone yesterday did their brand test from stage, and a third of you took their online assessment. They did a QR code, and you all went and did the assessment. That was sitting on ScoreApp. So ScoreApp is a way of generating high-converting leads. Lots of people are now using it. Some big-name people are using it. And today is actually day one of our new ScoreApp book called Scorecard Marketing. Can I be really cheesy? Can I get a selfie with all of you holding up the book? Would that be too much to ask? I know it's cheesy. Let me... everyone's got to have it up. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do one of these video ones. It's going to be on Insta, and we're just going to go Scorecard Marketing. I love you guys. The best. All right, I'm done now. That's all I wanted. Okay, so ScoreApp, it's all templated. It's really super simple. You just basically pick a template. It's already pretty much done for you, and you just edit the text. And it's like literally you just make it go live and you start getting data, you start getting leads, and it all just works. So it's really nice. It's kind of like when you first switch on like Instagram or something and you go, oh, this is pretty easy. I just put some photos in and do my profile, and then it all just works from there. Some cool people you might have heard of are using scorecard marketing with us, like Jay Shetty. But some people you may not have heard of, like some coaches and some speakers who don't have the same profile as Jay, saying that it's been game-changing. Their first month was hundreds of leads. Within 10 days, it became the #1 source of leads. Right? So let's get into why it works first. So people love taking scorecards. They love doing this stuff. And here's why. So there's a few psychological reasons behind why scorecard marketing works. The first one is the reason people buy anything is to resolve tension. So there's one reason why people will buy absolutely anything, and that is to resolve tension. So we feel a sense of tension between the current situation and the desired situation that we want, and that's why we buy stuff. It could be something small, like if I said to you, I'm sorry to be rude, but your breath smells like tacos, that creates tension, and you're thinking, I need to go get myself a packet of chewing gum, right? I'm going to duck out in the break. It doesn't. That was just made up. People buy to resolve tension. So we experience tension. Your customers, anyone who's ever bought from you, has done so because they wanted to resolve some tension. And it's always the situation of where they are now versus where they want to be. Right? Think about it like this. People don't buy airline seats, they buy the destination that they want to get to, and there's the tension between where they are right now and where they would like to go on holiday, and there's the tension, and the greater the tension, the more likely they are to buy. My first question for you on this is, what is the outcome that your clients want? What do you think that they would love to achieve? Have a quick think about that and write that down. What is the desired outcome? What's the finishing line, or what's the end result, the end state that your customers want to get to? Because if you can be really clear at outlining and articulating this is the end result, then that immediately creates tension, because if people, unless they've got that end result, they're going to feel a sense of tension of like, oh, I'm here, but I want that thing that's there. So I've got a feeling of tension between the two. So who wants to share? Who's got an end result? Yeah, what is it that your customers go for? A happy, balanced life, right? So anyone who's feeling that their life isn't quite happy and balanced is going to go and be drawn to you because they feel a sense of tension. They might say, you know what, between you and I feel like I'm a little bit out of balance at the moment. It's making me feel a bit unhappy. I'm working too hard. I'm not spending enough time, on other things. And then they go, that tension makes me want to buy from you. If you can help restore the balance and the happiness, I'm all in. Well, what about yourself? Just shout it out. I'll repeat it.
They want to have muscles that protect and support rather than debilitate and embarrass.
I missed some of those words. They want to have
muscles that protect and support rather than debilitate and embarrass. Pelvic floor.
I just felt some tension there. I'm thinking about, I wonder, are my muscles enough to protect and support? All right. Right. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have a little bit of tension. So you think about tension. The greater the tension, the more desire people have to buy from you. So we need something that highlights the tension. And the beauty of a scorecard is it highlights the tension and it quantifies it in numbers. So when people took the key person of influence scorecard, the desired outcome is to become a key person of influence in the industry. That's what the people want. And then they could quantify it and they'd say, oh, currently I'm at 23% in that goal. I've got 77% to go, right? I've got a ways to go. So by answering those questions, each question that they say no to creates a little bit of tension, and then the big reveal at the end creates a lot of tension. So scorecards highlight tension. The next reason scorecards work is because people have what's called dormant desires, so hidden desires, secret desires, things that they don't even know that they want. So if we were to go and look at the marketplace, we could say that there are two types of customers. There is a customer with dormant desire, and there's a customer who's actively searching for something. So for example, let's take fitness trainers because of the example just over here. Let's say that there are some people who right now are actively looking for a personal trainer. They're looking for a fitness trainer. So much so that in the last 24, 48 hours, they've Google searched fitness trainers near Wimbledon, right? They've just been searching for it and they've been looking for different options. They've been on their Instagram searching for fitness and gyms and all that sort of stuff. That's called an active buyer. Let's imagine that in Wimbledon, there's a small number of people who are actively searching for fitness trainers and gyms and that sort of stuff. Which market do you think is bigger? The active market or the dormant market? The dormant market are people who have got a frustration. They would describe that it's less than perfect. They'd say, I'm not perfectly happy with my fitness, but they're not actively looking. That market is massive compared to the active market. So you'd basically say that the dormant market is the huge market. Now, I'll tell you the secret between businesses that are multi-million pound fast growth businesses and businesses that stay small. Typically, the small businesses go after the active market. So when someone searches for a fitness trainer, they say, I'm a fitness trainer, right? I'm here. I'm better than these other fitness trainers. And they're fishing in that small pool of active people searching. The businesses that are extremely fast growth are the ones that know how to go into the dormant market and wake up the dormant desire. They can actually take a small frustration, articulate it, wrap some numbers around it, put a story around it, and take someone who wasn't really searching into something else. Now think about it like this. When someone is actively looking for a solution, they've got their mind set. They've probably got a budget in mind and they've got an outcome in mind as to what they're doing for. So for example, if I'm actively searching for CrossFit, I'm going to go and search for CrossFit clubs and I'm going to have a budget in mind of £100 a month. But if I said I'm frustrated that I'm not fit and I'm not spending enough time outdoors or doing fit things, I could end up signing up for yoga, I could end up signing up for golf, I could sign up for a personal trainer, I could sign up for any number of gyms. There's a huge range of options that I might sign up if I start with just the dormant desire. So here's the thing, whoever provides the light bulb moment to the person who has a dormant frustration is the person who typically wins the sale. If you're the one who provides a light bulb moment, an insight, right? You shine the light on the dormant frustration and show a path or a solution. You are the one who activated them from dormant to active, and essentially you're way out in front at that point for winning the sale. So one of the things that scorecards do is they are the light bulb moment that awakens a dormant desire, that it actually wraps a framework around the dormant desire. The next insight is that great brands manufacture demand. Great brands manufacture demand. In the industrial age, people like Henry Ford became the wealthiest people on the planet by manufacturing supply. We have this terminology in the economy called gross domestic produce. Gross domestic produce is back in a time from an era when it was very difficult to produce things, and the default assumption is if you can produce it, we could definitely sell it, right? The hard part's making something, the easy part's selling it. So think back maybe 150 years ago, if you could manufacture scissors, right? You've got a scissor factory, right? You can make them as fast as you can make them. People are like, oh wow, fantastic, scissors, I'll buy those. That's not the hard part. Buying them is the easy part, making them's the hard part. So the scissor factory millionaires were making the scissors. Fast forward to today. You go on Amazon, you do a search for scissors, there's 500 different pairs of scissors. There's different colors, different sizes. There's scissors for the purse, medical scissors, kids' play scissors, right? So there's an abundance of supply. So the millionaires today, the people who are super successful today, are the ones who know how to manufacture desire for something. They can manufacture the demand. So it used to be that you had to manufacture the supply. Now you have to manufacture the demand. So if we think in the industrial age, the supply side was where they were very clever at tweaking every tiny little efficiency out of the production line. Today, the people who are making great money are tweaking every little efficiency out of what's called the funnel or the customer buying journey, right? So they're doing the entire customer buying journey. Now, a lot of people are still tweaking their supply side, but they haven't mastered the demand side. So what we need to do is have a production line, a perfect journey that people can go through that actually manufactures the desire, manufactures the demand for something, and then you're the one who's got the answer for that. So this is what scorecards do. They're very good at manufacturing demand, and they're 24/7. They're always online. They're always available for your customers to do a self-assessment. Final thing is that people love to score and improve, right? We are ridiculous, right? We're like, who's one of those people where it's like you go out for a walk and you realize that the walk was like 8 minutes and you're like, tomorrow I'm going to try and see if I do it in 7 minutes. Or like you're always thinking about little ways you can score and improve things. And we know that no one would watch sport if there wasn't a scoreboard. Like if it was just people kicking the ball around and you took away the goalposts and you took away the scoreboard, no one's going to do that. So people just love this concept of scoring and improving things. And scorecards give people a way to score and improve absolutely everything. So this is the psychological reasons as to why people do this. Now let's talk about how we do it. So in order to have a successful scorecard campaign, we've boiled it down to just 4 things. You have to have a landing page that communicates what it is people are going to score and why they want to score that thing. A questionnaire, so a set of between 10 and 50 questions typically that people are going to answer. Then a results page that shows them here's how you scored, here's how you end up, here's your ultimate result. And then you've got to have a way of promoting it and get the word out so that more and more people take your scorecard. It's those 4 things, and that's all you have to do to have a successful campaign. Now, I'm going to go through a bunch of this and how to quickly do it. You don't have to write it down or remember it. We'll give you a set of videos. We'll give you a PDF document. We've got real-life human beings who can help. We have a community of like 750 different members. We've got videos on YouTube, so all of that sort of stuff. So if you run down this rabbit hole, there's lots of support for you to get this right. So let's quickly go through the 4 keys for getting a high-performing scorecard campaign so you can sort out lead generation once and for all. So the first thing is the landing page, and a really important part of the landing page is giving your scorecard a name. You want to name that scorecard, and the name should be based upon the desired outcome that your customers want to achieve. So what we talked about a little bit before, what is your customer's desired outcome? And you want to kind of think about putting yourself in the customer's shoes and asking to complete this sentence. I really want to be blank, I really want to have blank, or I really want to experience blank. I mean, how cool is the book title from Stephen Bartlett, Happy Sexy Millionaire? Oh my God, is there a better book title in the world than Happy Sexy Millionaire? Because what do people want to have? What do people want to become? Right? Sounds pretty good, right? So he knows exactly how to create a good name because it's based on a desired outcome. So anything that has a name can be turned into a scorecard. I really want to be ready to pitch some investors. Great, let's do the pitch readiness scorecard. I really want to have business growth. Cool, do the business growth scorecard and get your customized report. I really want to experience more financial clarity. Right, fantastic. Why don't we do the financial clarity scorecard? Right, so you've got more financial clarity. Another way of saying this is also, are you ready to begin something new? Are you ready to start something? So let me give you some examples there. Are you ready to run a marathon? Take the scorecard and find out. Are you ready to increase your prices? Take this scorecard and find out whether you could increase your prices. Are you ready to sell your home for the most amount of money? Take this scorecard and find out whether your home is in a condition to sell for the most amount of money. Are you ready to win an award? Take this scorecard and see if you're likely to win an award. Just 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll tell you whether you're award ready. So these are examples of, are you ready to get this thing done? Here's an example. Are you ready to have success with MS? Right, hugely successful scorecard from Karen Dwyer. For people who've got MS, they want to know whether they can get their life back the way they want it. Now, you don't have to necessarily call it a scorecard. You could call it a quiz, an assessment, a test, an indicator. Any of those sorts of things will work as well. So I want you to have a go at this. What would you call your scorecard to attract your ideal clients? I'll give you a few minutes, or a minute or two, just to think through. Maybe talk to the person next to you. What would you call your scorecard? I'll give you a minute or two. Okay. Who has got a scorecard name? What would yours be? Are you ready to get wired for wealth? Rewired for wealth scorecard. I love it. Yeah, what was yours called? The visibility scorecard. So how visible are you? Can you improve your brand visibility? Love it. What was your scorecard? The golf scorecard? Yoga for golf scorecard. Okay, I'm curious to know how that... works. Yeah, what's yours? Abolish fatigue scorecard, right? Are you ready to abolish fatigue through great nutrition? Take this scorecard. Fantastic. And one last one over there. Yep. Are you ready to be a great leader? Nice, simple question. Take the scorecard, find out, right? So you've got a good starting point. You can always come up with 3 or 4 titles and test on social media. You can run a poll on Twitter or on LinkedIn. Before you commit to a name of your scorecard, I strongly recommend go on LinkedIn, ask people, I'm thinking of launching a book, or I think I'm launching an online assessment. Do you think I should call it A, B, or C? Get them to vote. Do a little poll. Get people engaged. Get a little bit of buy-in first. Once you choose your name, then it's very, very simple. We've got dozens and dozens of beautiful templates. You pick an aesthetic that you like, and you just work from that. You can drag and drop photos straight into it. So you're essentially just looking for a design and layout that you kind of like, and then you just start editing it. So you might pick a scorecard like this. It's already going to have questions in there. It's already going to have copy in there. So you're just kind of editing what's already in there. It's pretty much a cut, paste, and edit job at that point. So the next thing you need to think of is the questionnaire. The questionnaire is a series of questions that people need to answer, nice simple questions, in order to see whether they're on track or off track to achieving the desired outcome that they have. So it's kind of like just a dynamic checklist. You could think of it as pretty much a simple checklist. So for example, the visibility scorecard might ask things like, have you published a blog on LinkedIn? Have you done anything to improve your search engine optimization? Have you put a video on YouTube? So these are things that people could do to improve their visibility. So it's a bit of a dynamic checklist, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and you go through and you put your checklist together. So you want to keep it simple. You want things that are simple to answer without having to check, and you want something that can be improved, right? You don't want to ask people things that they can't change or can't improve, right? You want to ask things, ideally things that you can help them with, right? That you help them to improve. Those are the best types of things that you can talk about. So I'll give you some examples from my one. Do you give talks, trainings, and presentations and speeches? Right, so it's pretty simple. If somebody Googled your name, would they find most of page 1 is positive links featuring you? Are you featured in the media more than a few times each year? So these are simple yes or no questions. You don't have to think terribly hard about them. But you notice that each one of those creates that little bit of tension. Oh, actually, I should be doing a bit more of that. Okay, maybe I should do some of that. So we go through and we tick, 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 tick. So one thing you may want to think about is how many questions do you need? So there's 3 answers to this. If you want to generate leads, then and especially from cold traffic like advertising or a joint venture with somebody else's list or through social media engagement, you want to keep it nice and short, 7 to 12 questions so that you get fast leads coming in. And that's just like leads coming in, lots of people who go, 1 minute, 7 questions, boom, 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 boom. It's a lead. You can start from there. If you want to get conversions, you want 20 to 50 questions. Now, conversions is where you actually have plenty of people engaging with you, but you need to convert from interest to a sale. So, for example, let's say you've already got a social media following with 10, 20, 30,000 people. You've got lots and lots of people who know who you are, but now you want to turn some of those into sales. 20 to 50 questions. They trust you enough to go and do 20 to 50 questions with you, and that's going to give you lots of data to help you to make a sale. So for me personally, that's where I focused my energy. I had the Key Person of Influence books, I had videos, I had podcasts, I had all this stuff that was out there, but I needed a way for people to go from consuming content to engaging in a meaningful way, and then we could talk to people about how to improve their score. So I needed 40 questions in order to capture enough information for us to do a really good sales conversation. And then if you want happy clients, 50 to 100 questions. Now, here's how this works. On day 1, when you sign up a new client, you get them to do the full 50 to 100 question questionnaire on day one, and it's all the possible ways that you could help them. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you got one of these in place? Have you got this document in place? Have you done this thing? Have you done this thing? Do you measure this? Do you track this? Do you do this? Boom, 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 boom. Now, here's the fun part. When they then give that back to you, you spend the next 6 months fixing all the things they said no to, and then at the end of 6 months, they take it again and they go, oh my goodness, you moved from a 17% to a 76% in 6 months. I need to give you referrals. I'm so happy because I can quantify and see how far you moved me in just a short space of time. So you could think of this as almost an MOT, right? You do an MOT on day one, and then you revisit it 6 months in, and people are very happy. So the question I've got for you is, if you're going to start this process, do you want to start with lead generation, quick, snappy leads? Do you want better conversions? You've already got some engagement. Or do you want happy customers where you want to use it in that particular way? So have a quick think. Maybe have a 1 or 2 minute, one quick chat with the person next to you. What would you use this for? Would it be leads, conversions, or happy customers? Okay. Just for my feedback, can I get a little bit of feedback? Who sees the most potential in this for leads? That you want to use it for lead generation? Okay, great. Who wants to enhance their conversions? Great. And who wants to use it with a customer who's already signed up to improve the journey? Fantastic. So it's about half and then like 25%. Cool. Okay, so as I said, you've got the templates there. When you choose a template, it will already have questions built in. And those questions are just so it shows you the types of questions you could ask. You've got to be a little bit creative and go through and edit each of those questions. So you've got to kind of make it your own. Unfortunately, you're going to have to sit down and do a little bit of creativity with this and just kind of plug in the types of thinking and the types of questions that you've got. But these questions are here just to give you a bit of a prompt to kind of show you examples of what kind of questions could work. Now, you can do sliding scale questions. You could, like on a scale of 1 to 5, you can do multiple choice questions with different points associated for each of the multiple choice. Should I take it? No. It's my wife. Just hung up on her. Sorry, love. If it rings again, it's important. I better take it, right? So results is the next part. So we've asked questions. Now we want to do results. What we want to do is we want to showcase some authority, some insight, and really this is the big reveal, right? This is why they agreed to answer the questions in the first place. So this is where you reveal, you know, now you've answered these questions, here's what we can tell you about yourself. So what's cool is it's going to display this in several different ways. You can have pie charts, you can have a thermometer, you can have a speedometer, you can have, we've got like traffic lights, all sorts of different ways. One of those spidergrams where it's like, you know, shows you how you are on the little axes. There's lots of ways you can display the results. But what's really cool is depending on how they answer the questions, we can serve up different content. So we call this dynamic content. And that dynamic content basically tells people a different message based on how they scored. It can also do different offers based on how someone scored. So if someone scored low, you might give them a book. Someone scored medium, you might invite them to a workshop. Someone scored high, you might have a one-to-one with them. So you can go through and you can say, this is how you did for the highest, this is how you did for the lowest, right? So all of that's there. And then behind the scenes, it just asks you to tell the system what is a low score, what is a medium score, what is a high score. You can have as many tiers as you like, but you know, the system wants to know, do you want to show this content for people who scored less than 20%, more than 20%, 30%? Where do you want to put the parameters for low, medium, or high? You can name those whatever you want. You can have medium, medium, rare, and well done, whatever it is you want to have. But then you come up with a little bit of different content for each of the results. So if someone scores low, you might say, it looks like you've got some real work to do here. Here's 3 tips for getting started. If someone scores medium, you've got some strong foundations in place, but there's still some room to improve. Here's a video designed for taking your results up a level. You could give them a video that they only see if they scored medium. Hi, well done, you're strong in this area and it's important to keep up the good work and fine-tune your results. So they're going to see something that's relevant for them. Now, what's really cool is we can do this with video as well. So if you sit down in front of a camera and record a little video message for someone who scored low, don't feel discouraged. Everyone starts at this place. We can improve things really rapidly. You've got the most to gain. Let's work together. Hi, congratulations, well done. You're doing really, really well. You know, like a Formula One car, you know, if you can go 1 second faster, that's worth doing. Let's help you to go from good to great, right? So you can do a different video depending on how people score. And you can just have those videos that play depending on what that is. If you want to get super sexy and sophisticated, you can actually create content that only appears based on certain questions. So if let's say there's one question in there and it says, do you have a small business, a medium-sized business, or a large business? You can have, just off that one question, a special offer that says, because you run a small business, we have a special small business workshop. Because you run a medium-sized company, we've got a medium-sized in-company workshop that we run. So you can actually tailor those offers. Our team were a little bit brave and a little bit bold yesterday, and they decided, you know what, Stephen Bartlett's going to be there tomorrow. Let's build him a scorecard. So, so we said, are you dreaming of becoming a happy, sexy millionaire? We took all these images off his website. Sorry, Stephen. Right. Now, mind you, he's going to love this. We bought a beautiful leather case, and we've put all of his usernames and passwords in the book in there because, you know, we've got to give it to him in a happy, sexy way. So we created, are you dreaming of becoming a happy, sexy millionaire? So it's based on an outcome. Take our quiz and assess your readiness for becoming one right now. And based on the learnings from your book, right, we'll assess you. So what does it assess you on, right? What do you think a happy, sexy millionaire quiz would assess someone on? Of course, it's going to have 3 categories. Are you happy? Are you sexy? Are you a millionaire, right? So what we did is we just loaded up 6 or 7 questions about happiness, 6 or 7 questions about sexiness, and 6 or 7 questions about wealth, money, and people go through and they answer the questions. So super simple questions. Do you regularly look for the opportunity to give or help others? On a scale of 1 to 5, how do you look after your physical health? All we did really is we looked at the Kindle version of his book, and we just looked through the table of contents, and we just kind of went through the table of contents and turned each one of the things that he recommends into a question. Do you do that thing? And then we just stuck it in the quiz. And then when you answer the questions, it says, thanks for taking the Happy Sexy Millionaire quiz. Not bad. Looks like you've got some really strong foundations and you could improve. And then it gives you custom recommendations on happiness, sexiness, and millionaire. Oh, poor Richard. Richard on our team took the test and got 29% for sexiness. Thank goodness he's well on his way to being a millionaire, though. So, so fabulous. And then, based on how good, well, lucky Richard's not here. And then based upon how the score came out, the recommendation was the book. So you could make that recommendation a workshop, you could make it a one-to-one call, any of those sorts of things. You could join a Facebook group or a community. We would like, based on how you answered, we'd like to invite you into our secret WhatsApp group, right? Any of those things could be the call to action. So essentially we just said, hey, let's make the call to action the buy on Amazon button. So that's essentially how it works, end to end. And you need to come up with what is the next steps you want to have, right? So I'm curious, the next step could be a book, a workshop, or a one-to-one call. Who here would make their next step a book? You've got a book you'd recommend, right? Who would do a workshop? You'd invite people to a workshop as the next step. And who would do a one-to-one call as the next step, right? But only, here's the good thing, only if they're the right fit, right? Because what you really want is you want Cinderella clients. Cinderella clients, they're the clients that the shoe fits perfectly, and you don't want to spend time with all the clients that are not Cinderella. So you want to ask a few questions that tell you whether someone is the right fit. Use the scorecard as a glass slipper and see if people are a good fit before you offer a one-to-one, because your time will get busy if you just give one-to-ones to everybody. And the beauty is that you can tell this based on the data. So every single lead that comes in, you're going to see an overview. It's interesting, by the way, our system automatically found that photo. It just sucks in what it finds on the internet. So that photo is a photo it found on me. And it basically, you can straight away, you'll get an overview. You'll see how all of the questions got answered. Oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself. You'll see how all the questions got answered. You'll be able to have conversations with those Cinderella clients about the issues they most want to fix. And you'll get aggregate data. So once about 100 or so people start answering your questions, you'll have all this data that shows you as a whole how do people typically answer these questions. Now this is really cool because sometimes you'll discover there's areas that you didn't really think to create a product, but then there's a great opportunity. So for example, we ran a scorecard and 75% of people did not know their allowable cost per lead. They hadn't never calculated the allowable cost per lead. So then we said, oh, wait a second, first thing we need to do in the workshop, we hadn't even thought to do this, but we're going to put that straight into the workshop. Let's calculate the allowable cost per lead. And the data was the thing that told us this is what we should teach people because 75% of people don't have it. So by looking at the data, we could actually create some good ideas for products. And then promotion is the final thing. You've got to get people taking the scorecard. We've got a document called 29 Simple Ways to Promote Your Scorecard. And we've got a checklist, a dynamic checklist that you can go through. We've got lots and lots of blogs, 11 ways to promote your quiz on your website, how to use SEO to promote your quiz, how to convert quiz leads into sales. So all of that is actually on the website and for our clients, and we've got a forum and all of that there as well. It's all covered in the new book, Scorecard Marketing. I kept that book nice and short. I deliberately wanted to make it short, sharp, and focused. So you've all got a copy of that. But to give you some examples, this is a website called Elite Dating. They're an Australian website. They focus on matchmaking. And they used to get something like 80,000 viewers per month, but hardly anyone left their name and email. People would read the blogs and the articles about dating, but then they were anonymous. And then what they did is they just did a little pop-up, are you elite material? Find out how eligible you are in 5 minutes. He looks pretty elite material, doesn't he? He's got the swagger, he's got the pose. So what happened was actually quite incredible. Between 50 and 80 leads per day started coming in. So as soon as they put that on the website, suddenly they got 50 to 80 people every single day taking the scorecard and finding out whether they are elite material. And that became a massive business boost. We see a lot of people launching these on their social media. So if they've got a social media following, you might have lots of followers who have followed you for years, but now you're giving them something to actually go and do. Every day now, I see people promoting their scorecards on Facebook ads. So this is one of our clients who's doing a 5-minute R&D tax credit eligibility scorecard. This is someone who's doing, is your brand irresistible? Take your scorecard and get a tailored report. And what people tell us all the time is this. They said, my old leads used to give me name, email, and location, but my new leads give me name, email, phone, location, likes, dislikes, desires, frustrations, buying criteria, motivations, fears, the whole shooting match. So people are saying that for the same price as what their old leads would give them, they're getting so much more data. Here's a fun one. This company sells cabins in the woods. They call them bunkies. They're in Canada. And they went from 3.5 million a year to 7 million in 1 year, and the additional 3.5 million was from scorecards. So it's a really simple one. Are you ready for the bunkie life? Right? Apparently Canadians, hey, yeah, I'd like that. So they know what that means, and they go for it. And it just asks questions about, are you comfortable building the thing? Do you want to do it for family reasons? Have you got a piece of land to put it on? All these things, and then it says, yeah, you're ready, or you're not quite ready, you're going to need these things first. But they doubled their business in 1 year just by getting people to fill in these scorecards. Okay, so finishing up, how do you get started? So you've got some resources, you've all got the Scorecard Marketing book. You're the first ones to get this. We sent some out this week, but you're effectively the first people to get the Scorecard Marketing book. When you're ready to kick off, you set up an account. For most businesses, it's £29 a month. For bigger businesses, it's £89 a month. if you're wanting thousands of leads. And there's no contract, you just turn it off whenever you want to turn it off. So if it stops working, you can just turn it off. Or if you think it's going to work, but it doesn't really work for you for any reason, you just turn it off. Once you've got an account, you just select some templates. You can come up with 3 or 4 or 5 different versions. You can ask people what they think. You can have a bit of fun with your team creating one of these. You can have multiple people who are able to log into the account and see it. So you'll be able to check out our different templates. You'll be able to start with a template, drop in your own photos, your own images, your own text and copy and all that sort of stuff. Within about 2 hours, you'll have a ready-made marketing funnel that's ready to go live. Like you'll do a bit of testing with it and then you're ready to share the link and it goes live. And it's a proper marketing funnel. It's a landing page, it's a questionnaire, it's a results page. It's ready to go. You'll start getting a steady stream of qualified leads and that will be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're going to have data-rich insights that you've never had before. You'll know exactly why each person wants to talk to you, what's driving their behavior. So for the next 24 hours, as part of this conference, we'd love to give you a little special extra bonus. I'd love to give you my book, Key Person of Influence, my book, 24 Assets, and the Book Builder program, a book on writing a book. And that's because that's all going to talk about things like building your brand and getting your book out there, and these work so well with books, by the way. And then we'll also give you a ticket to something called Set Up and Score, which is a live workshop that's about 90 minutes to 2 hours where we go through and we actually do live setups with people on a Zoom call with Lee. And then I also want to give you something called Get Sales. So Set Up and Score will be very much about making sure fine-tuning that your setup happens well, and Lee is like the world's best at this. She's going to run that. And then what I would like to do, once you're up and running and you've got like 20, 30 leads coming through, I want to run something called Get Sales with you. So Get Sales is a sales training workshop where we take all of the insights that we've learned since 2015 as to how to convert a scorecard lead into a sale, and how we actually go and do that and step by step. And then we'll just train you on how to do the Get Sales. It's a half-day workshop, and we'll give that to you free of charge. You can come along with 2 people. So it is something I've run in the past for $279 plus VAT per ticket, but we'll actually do 2 tickets if you go ahead. So here's the cool thing. You'll have actually not had to spend any money to do all of those things, and you'll be able to essentially get a sense as to whether this works for you before you have to spend any money at all. You'll be able to join our community, about 600 or 700 people who are in that Facebook group. We've got lots of how-to videos if you prefer to learn that way. So here's the bottom line. Costs you absolutely nothing to try it out. If it works, you've got a powerful lead magnet. If you hit 30 leads, you'll unlock the bonuses. We're actually just unlocking the bonuses for you as well. Now, the reason I need it to be the next 24 hours is because it's a big group. We're going to go through in a cohort, right? So I need to know how many people are on the cohort, and then we can schedule everything. It's too big a group to do it kind of ad hoc and one at a time. So I need you to basically join in the next 24 hours. And if it doesn't work for you, just switch it off before you have to pay anything. So there's your code. If you want to use your phone, you can use the QR code, or if you prefer to punch in the thing there, you've got that's ready to go. And the final thing I'll say is leads change lives. It sounds so corny, so cheesy to be saying leads change lives, but it's absolutely true. I tell you what, nothing quite is life-changing like having an influx of leads. If you had 10 leads, 20 leads, 30 leads a week coming through, your life would change. 100 leads a week, and your life would absolutely change. Think back to that 21-year-old Dan who was sitting there with the newspaper. My life massively changed having one successful lead generation strategy to run ads in the paper each week. And that was a massive life changer. So leads change lives. Thank you so much for having me. And let's get Stephen up here on the stage as our next speaker, I think. All the best. Thank you.